Welcome to Real Physics. Today I will read you a chapter of my book Bankrupting Physics, and ultimately my interest is fundamental physics, but before diving into fundamental things you sometimes have to call out the bullshit. And that's why I wrote my very first book, Vom Urknall zum Durchknall. It's very cheeky, and this is the English translation, and maybe this subchapter convinced my editor back then, ultimately of the book she wrote me. I remember, Alexander, right now, and to the amusement of colleagues passing my office, I am bursting into uncontrollable laughter when reading your chapter. We are British. We are British because I refer to Roger Penrose. He got the Nobel Prize in the meantime, and he is also a fierce critic of inflation, a concept I'm attacking here. We are British. On close inspection, it is hard to explain the homogeneity of the cosmic microwave background, even with inflation. Whatever this generic singular structure is, said Penrose, it is not something we can expect to become ironed out simply because of a physics that allows inflationary processes. He considers the entire idea that the puzzling uniformity resulted from a heat transfer a flawed concept. What a pain in the neck it must be for a leading mind of thermodynamics like Penrose to see the growing popularity of inflation. Nonetheless, being the British gentleman that he is, Penrose spends 5 sentences apologizing before carefully stating, "Since I believe that there are powerful reasons for doubting the very basis of inflationary cosmology, I should not refrain from presenting these reasons to the reader." In plain words, he thinks the whole notion is garbage. As the British cosmologist Martin Rees recounted in his book Our Universe and Others, Penrose was even more outspoken when talking about inflation. Inflation is a fashion high-energy physicists visited on cosmology. Even aardvarks think their offspring are beautiful. Rees himself, astronomer royal and fellow of the Royal Society, was gentlemanly as well in expressing his reservations. All these ideas highlight the link between the cosmos and the microworld. The ideas won't be firmed up until we have a proper understanding of space and time, the bedrock of the physical world. In general, European physicists prefer to word these theses of inflation in conjunctive mood, peppered with lots of woulds, coulds, or shoulds, a habit that is usually washed off on the way over the Atlantic. This may be the reason why a much cheekier critic of inflation, Joe Margejo, wrote, "As year went by, inflation's popularity among physicists continued to grow. Eventually, inflation itself became the establishment, so much that it gradually became the only socially acceptable way to do cosmology, attempts to circumvent it usually being dismissed as cranky and deranged, but not on the shores of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II. Well, some time has passed in the meantime, and unfortunately still the popularity of inflation seems to grow. Prizes are being awarded. It is as absurd as it is, but what can we do? As I said, if you want to deal with fundamental physics, sometimes you have to call out the bullshit. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like it, and if you're interested in fundamental physics, subscribe to this channel.